Retail Management, Masters of Commerce, 4th semester, Mangalore University, Session 16. Strategic Retail Planning. In this session, you are going to learn about retail location and site decision. Learning objective. To understand about the importance and the types of location in retail business. Session outcome. To enlighten the students about the importance and the locational strategies in retail business. Silicon Valley is a mindset, not a location, which was told by Reid Hoffman, the co founder of LinkedIn. Before visiting a mall or a shop, the first question that arises in consumers' mind is, how far do I have to walk or drive? In populous cities such as Mumbai, Delhi, Tokyo, and Shanghai, to name a few, consumers face rush hour traffic jams or jams because of road structure. In such cases, to access a retail outlet to procure day to day needs becomes very difficult. It is very important for the consumers to have retail stores near where they stay. The factors affecting the demand for a retail store. The best areas for locating stores are those that generate the highest long term profits for a retailer. Some factors affecting the long term profit generated by stores that should be considered when evaluating an area include the economic conditions, the competition, the strategic fit of the area's population with the retailer's target market, and the cost of operating stores. So, now let us discuss one by one. Economic conditions. Because locations involve a commitment of resources over a long time horizon, it is important to examine an area's level and growth of population and employment. A large, fully employed population means high purchasing power and high levels of retail sales. But population and employment growth alone aren't enough to ensure a strong retail environment in the future. Retail location analysts must determine how long such growth will continue and how it will affect demand for merchandise sold in the stores. If growth is not diversified in various industries, the area may be unattractive because of extreme cyclical trends. However, many areas that have been traditionally dependent on agriculture, a declining industry, have attempted to bring in new industries such as manufacturing and high tech to help diversify their economies. Also, it is useful to determine which areas are growing quickly and why. For instance, the east side of Seattle, Washington has become a desirable retail location because of its proximity to Microsoft's corporate headquarters. But the performance of these retail locations is inextricably linked to the financial performance of Microsoft. In most cases, areas where the population is large and growing are preferable to those with declining populations. However, some retailers such as Subway often go into new strip shopping centers with few nearby households with the anticipation that the surrounding suburban area will eventually be built up enough to support the stores. Next is cost of operating stores. The cost of operating stores can vary across areas. For example, store rental and advertisement cost in Mangalore are significantly lower than those in Bangalore. But of course, the potential sales and profits from stores located in Bangalore are substantially greater due to its larger and denser population. Operating costs are also affected by the proximity of the area being considered to other areas in which the retailer operates stores. For example, if a store is located near other stores and the retailer's distribution centers, the cost of shipping merchandise to the store is lower, as is the cost and travel time spent by the district manager supervising the store's operations. The local and state legal and regulatory environment can have a significant effect on operating costs. Next is competition. The level of competition in an area clearly affects the demand for a retailer's merchandise. Walmart's early success was based on a location strategy of opening stores in small towns with little competition. It offered consumers in small towns quality merchandise at lower prices. Previously, sorry, rural consumers either shopped in small stores with limited assortments or drove to larger towns. Although they once were weaved to undesirable areas, inner city neighborhoods today host full service restaurant chains. Next is strategic fit. Population level, growth, and competition alone don't tell the whole story. The area needs to have consumers who are in the retailer's target market, who are attracted to the retailer's offerings and interested in patronizing its stores. Thus, the area must have the right demographic and lifestyle profile. The size and composition of households in an area can be an important determinant of success. Finally, lifestyle characteristics of the population may be relevant depending on the target market that a particular retailer is pursuing. Importance of location in retail business. Retail store location is also an important factor for the marketing team to consider while setting retail marketing strategy. Here are some reasons. The business location is a unique factor which the competitors cannot imitate. Hence, it can give a strong competitive advantage. Second, selection of a retail location is a long-term decision. It requires long-term capital investment. Good location is a key element for attracting customers to the outlet. A well-located stores make supply and distribution easier. Locations can help to change the customer's buying habits. Types of location. Many types of locations are available for retail stores, each type with its own strengths and weaknesses. Retailers have three basic types of location to choose from: freestanding, city or town district, or shopping center. Retailers can also locate in a non-traditional location such as in an airport or within another store. Choosing a particular location type requires evaluating a series of trade-offs. These trade-offs generally involve the size of the area, the occupancy cost of the location, the pedestrian and vehicle customer traffic generated in association with the location, the restrictions placed on the store operations by the property managers, and the convenience of the location for customers. The trade area is a geographical area that encompasses most of the customers who would patronize a specific retail site. So basically, the retail locations are divided into three, that is, unplanned retail locations, shopping centers, or other location opportunities. Unplanned retail locations. Some retailers put their stores in unplanned locations for which there is no centralized management to determine where the specific stores are and how they will be operated. Two types of unplanned retail locations are freestanding sites and city or town locations. First one, freestanding sites. Freestanding sites are retail locations for an individual, isolated store unconnected to other retailers. However, they might be near other freestanding retailers or a shopping center. The advantages of freestanding locations are their convenience for customers, high vehicular traffic, and visibility to attract the customers driving by, modest occupancy cost, and fewer restrictions on signs, hours, or merchandise as are typically imposed in shopping centers. Out parcels are the stores that are not connected to other stores in a shopping center but are located on the premises, typically in a parking area. These locations are popular for fast food restaurants such as McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or banks. Out parcels enable the retailers to have a drive-through window, dedicated parking, and clear visibility from the street. However, freestanding locations have a limited trade area. Typically, there are no other nearby retailers to attract the customers interested in shopping at multiple outlets on one trip. In addition, freestanding locations have higher occupancy costs than strip centers because they do not have other retailers to share the cost of outside lighting, parking lot maintenance, or trash collection. Finally, freestanding locations generally have little pedestrian traffic, limiting the number of customers who might drop in because they are walking by. Next is city or town locations. Most retailers have followed the US formulas as they have moved from the downtown areas to the surrounding suburbs. However, in the 21st century, some retailers are finding urban locations attractive, particularly in cities that are redeveloping their downtowns and surrounding urban areas. In general, urban locations have lower occupancy costs than enclosed malls, and locations in central business districts often have high pedestrian traffic during the day but not at night. However, vehicular traffic is limited due to congestion in urban areas, and parking problems reduce the consumer convenience. Unlike freestanding locations, store signage can be restricted in these locations. Many urban areas are going through a process of gentrification, the renewal and rebuilding of offices, housing, and retailers in deteriorating areas, coupled with an influx of more affluent people that displaces the former poor residents. Young professionals and retired empty nesters are moving into these areas to enjoy the convenience of shopping, restaurants, and entertainment near where they live. Next, under shopping centers. Shopping center is a group of retail and other commercial establishments that are planned, developed, owned, and managed as a single property. By combining many stores at one location, the development attracts more consumers to the shopping center than would be the case if the stores were at separate locations. The developer and shopping centers management carefully select a set of retailers that are complementary to provide consumers with a comprehensive shopping experience, including a well thought out assortment of retailers. However, surprisingly, it's not uncommon, for instance, for a store sales to increase when a competing store enters the shopping center. The shopping center management maintains the common facilities such as a parking area, an arrangement referred to as common area maintenance, and is responsible for providing security, parking lot lighting, outdoor signage for the center, advertising, and special events to attract the consumers, and so on. Lease agreements typically require that retailers in the center pay a portion of the common area maintenance cost for the center according to the size of their store space and or sales volume. The shopping center management can also place restrictions on the operating hours, signage, and even the type of merchandise sold in the stores. Most shopping centers have at least one or two major retailers referred to as anchors, such as Walmart. These retailers are courted by the center's developer because they attract a significant number of consumers and consequently make the center more appealing for other retailers. To get these anchor retailers to locate in a center, developers frequently give them special deals such as reduced lease costs. In strip shopping centers, supermarkets are typically anchors, where department stores traditionally anchor enclosed shopping malls. However, a lifestyle center may not have anchors, whereas power centers consist primarily of multiple anchor stores. First one is a neighborhood and community shopping center. Neighborhood and community strip shopping center, they are also called as strip shopping, are attached rows of non-enclosed stores with on-site parking usually located in front of the stores. The most common layouts are linear, L-shaped and inverted U-shape. Historically, the term strip center has applied to the linear configuration. Smaller centers are typically anchored by a supermarket or a drugstore and designed for a day-to-day convenience shopping. The larger centers are typically anchored by at least one big box store, such as a discount department store, an off-price retailer, or a category specialist. The anchors are supported by smaller specialty stores offering hardware, flowers, and a variety of personal services such as a barber shop and dry cleaners. The primary advantage of these centers are that they offer customers convenient locations and easy parking, and they have relatively low occupancy cost. The primary disadvantage is that smaller centers have a limited trade area due to their size and they lack entertainment and restaurants. In addition, there is no protection from the weather. As a result, neighborhood and community centers do not attract as many customers as larger enclosed malls do. Power centers. Power centers are the shopping centers that consist primarily of collections of big box retail stores such as full line discount stores, off price stores, warehouse clubs, and category specialist. Although these centers are open air, unlike traditional strip centers, power centers often include several freestanding anchors and only a minimum number of small specialty store tenants. Many power centers are located near an enclosed shopping mall. The third is a shopping mall. Shopping malls are enclosed, climate controlled, lighted shopping centers with retail stores on one or both sides of an enclosed walkway. Parking is usually provided around the perimeter of the mall. Shopping malls are classified as either regional malls or super regional malls. Super regional mall centers are similar to regional centers, but because of their large size, they have more anchors, specialty stores, and recreational opportunities and draw from a larger geographic area. They often are considered tourist attractions. Shopping malls have several advantages over alternative locations. First, shopping malls attract many shoppers and have a large trade area because of the number of stores and the opportunity to combine shopping with entertainment. They provide an inexpensive form of entertainment. Older citizens get their exercise by walking the malls, and teenagers hang out and meet their friends, though some malls are restricting their admittance in the evenings. Thus, malls generate significant pedestrian traffic inside the mall. Second, customers don't have to worry about the weather, and thus malls are appealing places to shop during cold winters and hot summers. Third, mall management ensures a level of consistency that benefits all the tenants. For instance, most major malls enforce uniform hours of operations. However, malls also have some disadvantages. First, mall occupancy costs are higher than those of strip centers, freestanding sites, and most central business districts. Second, some retailers may not like mall management control of their operations, such as strict rules governing window displays and signage. Third, competition within shopping centers can be intense. Several specialty and department stores might sell very similar merchandise and be located in close proximity. Fourth, freestanding locations, strip centers, lifestyle centers, and power centers are more convenient because customers can park in front of a store, go in and buy what they want, and go about their other errands. Fifth, small malls were built more than 40 years ago, and some malls were built more than 40 years ago and have not been subject to any significant remodeling. So they appear rundown and unappealing to shoppers. Furthermore, these older malls are often located in areas with unfavorable demographics because the population has shifted from the near suburbs to outer suburbs. Finally, the consolidation in the department store sector has decreased the number of potential anchor tenants and diminished the drawing power of enclosed malls. Theme or festival centers. Theme or festival centers are shopping centers that typically employ a unifying theme carried by the individual shops in their architectural design and to an extent in their merchandise. The biggest appeal of these centers is to tourists. The centers typically contain tenants similar to those in specialty center except that there are usually no large specialty stores or department stores. Theme or festival centers can be anchored by restaurants and entertainment facilities. A theme or festival center might be located in a place of a historical interest. Omni centers. The new shopping center developments are combining the enclosed malls, lifestyle centers, and power centers. Although centers of this type do not have an official name, they may be referred to as omni centers. Omni centers represent a response to several trends in retailing, including the desire of tenants to lower common area maintenance charges by spreading the cost among more tenants and to function inside larger developments that generate more pedestrian traffic and longer shipping trips. In addition, they reflect the growing tendency of consumers to cross shop. Next, lifestyle centers. Lifestyle centers are shopping centers that have an open air configuration of specialty stores, entertainment, and restaurants with design ambience and amenities such as fountains and street furniture. Lifestyle centers resemble the main streets in a small towns where people stroll from store to store, have lunch, and sit for a while on a park bench talking to friends. Thus, they cater to the lifestyles of consumers in their trade areas. Lifestyle centers are particularly attractive to specialty retailers. People are attracted to lifestyle centers not only because of their shops and restaurants but also because of the outdoor attractions such as pop up fountain, ice cream carts, stilt walkers, balloon artists, magicians, face painters, concerts, and other events. Since lifestyle centers have some limited auto access, customers can be dropped off right in front of a store. Mixed use developments. Mixed use developments combine several different uses into one complex, including retail, office, residential, hotel, recreation, or other functions. They are pedestrian oriented and therefore facilitate a live, work, play environment. They appeal to people who have had enough of long commutes to work and the social fragmentation of their neighborhoods and are looking for a lifestyle that gives them more time for the things that they enjoy and an opportunity to live in a genuine community. In addition, the mixed use developments are popular with retailers because they bring additional shoppers to their stores. They are also popular with governments, urban planners, and environmentalists because they provide a pleasant pedestrian environment and are an efficient use of space. Developers also like mixed use development because they use space productively. For instance, land costs the same whether a developer builds a shopping mall by itself or an office tower on top of the mall or parking structure. Outlet centers. Outlet centers are shopping centers that contain mostly manufacturers and retailers' outlet stores. On average, outlet center rent rates are lower than those of shopping malls and their sales per square foot are comparable. Some outlet centers have a strong entertainment component, including movie theaters and restaurants, to keep customers on the premises longer. Tourism represents 50% of the traffic generated for many outlet centers. Thus, many are located with convenient interstate access and close to popular tourist attractions. Some center developers actually organize bus tours to bring people hundreds of miles to their malls. As a result, the primary trade area for some outlet centers is 50 miles or more. Outlet centers are also very popular outside the US with about 150 centers in Europe, Turkey, and Dubai. The largest outlet center in Europe is the Freeport Lisbon designer outlet in Portugal. Outlet malls are also particularly attractive in Japan given its larger population, interest in American brands, and growing consumer enthusiasm for value retailing concepts. Other location opportunities: pop up stores, stores within a store, kiosks and airports are other location alternatives for many retailers. So let us discuss with the first one, that is pop-up stores and other temporary locations. Retailers and manufacturers sometimes open pop-up stores, which are stores in temporary locations that focus on new products or a limited group of products. A few years ago, pop-up stores were a major investment for retailers because of the high startup cost amortized over a very short lease and relatively high lease cost. Now, with retail space more plentiful and less expensive, these stores have become more popular. Retailers and manufacturers are using these spaces to create buzz, test new concepts, or even evaluate a new neighborhood or city. Pop up stores are even popping up on college campuses. Store within a store. Another non traditional location for retailers is within other large stores, is within other larger stores. Retailers, particularly department stores, have traditionally leased spaces to other retailers such as sellers of fine jewelry, furs, or high end designer brands. Grocery stores have been experimenting with the store within store concept for years with service providers like coffee bars, bank, film processors, and medical clinics. Merchandise kiosks. Merchandise kiosks are small selling spaces typically located in the walkways of enclosed malls, airports, college campuses, or office building lobbies. Some are stuffed and resemble a miniature store or cart that could be easily moved. Others are 21st century versions of vending machines such as the Apple kiosks that sell iPods and other high volume Apple products. For mall operators, kiosks are an opportunity to generate rental income in otherwise vacant space and offer a broad assortment of merchandise for visitors. Airports. A high pedestrian area that has become popular with national retail chains is airports. Passengers arrive earlier for their flights than they did in the past, leaving them more time to shop. In addition, a cutback in airline food service has more people seeking sustenance in the airport. As a result, sales per square foot at airport malls are often much higher than at a regular mall store. However, rents are higher too. Also, costs can be higher, hours are longer, and because the location is often inconvenient for workers, the businesses have to pay higher wages.